That's when it hit home to me. It wasn't just me telling stories on a famous platform with a bunch of scofflaws. I had about 5 hours one day with him in a truck and trailer, and I knew this and I was keeping it quiet. And I'm like, this is my one shot to save this kid's life. Because you're risking jail time and people's lives, and you're risking all automotive enthusiasts' ability to have some modicum of freedom and enjoy our cars before bureaucrats, politicians, and insurance companies destroy it for everybody. And I walked in, I'm like, what's up, dude? And he said, I guess I have to thank you. They got pulled over, the driver arrested, and he's in jail, the car impounded. I would have gone to jail. But the VINwiki Cannonball crowd won't tell you about those stories. How do I know that? How many times have I heard someone say, they have a perfect safety record? Yes. And politicians and congressmen and women are all awesome, ethical, nice people who don't involve with insider trading. What's up, people? So I am back away from YouTube because I've been doing things in the real world. However, my BS filter is completely full and I've got stuff to talk about. Now today, it's going to be about why I left VINwiki. But I'm going to tell an incredibly positive story with that so that I think you'll enjoy. Also this week, I'm going to talk about industrialization. How that really is the only way a nation builds any wealth or prosperity, through building an actual thing, farming, creating something, and how I think that also relates to individuals and domestic life. So we'll do that video, that'll be nice. Also, an Omega car update. What is going on with my high efficiency prototype car production, etc.? Oh, I will tell you, because it is a saucy jungle out there. Let's see. The other thing is, I despise Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he is a manufactured Trojan horse. And even though I am 100% a Trump supporter, I think he's truly a garbage politician. Like I said, a Trojan horse. It doesn't get any worse. I'm going to talk about that. If anybody doesn't like it, they can go screw themselves. And then the other thing, and this is going to be fun, I think it's fair to say that I have seen many a Daily Wire episode with all of their creators over the last number of years. And Ben Shapiro is a fascinating character, and he was basically the first person that was successfully able to argue against the liberal insane horde. So that's why we all like him. However, he made a blanket statement relating to German history of the first half of the 20th century, obviously relating to Hitler because he likes to bang that drum. But it was such a blanket statement, it got me thinking, how is Ben Shapiro actually that much different than Adolf Hitler? And isn't what he and so many others are doing just a wild disservice to the German people? Like I said, my BS filter is completely full, and I don't give a shit anymore if you don't like it. So here we go. I am at my watchmaking desk, and I've got it now arranged with half of the mechanical parts for the Founders watches. Other ones are on their way from Switzerland, other things are happening elsewhere. But today I just have a few little items. And hopefully, looking through things like this like a normal human being will keep my talk today even-keeled enough that the general populace will actually be able to palate it. So it's not just me in the car shop talking shop like, you know, military bluntness and humor or mechanic bluntness and humor, because the general public doesn't like that. Okay, so why'd I leave VINwiki? Well, VINwiki is a really nice opportunity for automotive enthusiasts and people to be able to tell a story, to get some exposure, whether it's just for them personally, a little acknowledgement, or connection for the entirety of the automotive enthusiast world. Entirety? However, I bounced out of there a couple years ago after being, I'd say, top 3 storyteller, just behind Ed, and I guess right there in quantity with, like, you know, Doug Tabbitt, Rabbit, that sort of thing. And then I was just out. So why would I do that? Because I'm sure Ed will never explain it to, or understand that till the day he dies. And even when I tell you now, I still won't understand it, which should tell you a lot about that. I've had 2 coffees this morning. It's Monday morning, which means I am all business. I like Monday mornings. So yeah, I'm probably going to be punchier than they would like. But if you don't like what I'm saying, fuck you. So let's tell the positive story. So Genius Garage, I've done that for 11 years, mentoring young adults, engineering students, people with a technical ability that are going somewhere. Why? I never had any of that when I was young. Ohio State University, stupid garbage. Center within fine art is what design was. And the engineering students that I worked with, a lot of smart ones, and I just learned all kinds of fabrication, welding, and things like that along the way. So I gleaned from both the fine art department and engineering world all the best stuff that I could, but I didn't fit in. And it wasn't an environment where you can go as far as you wanted. So it was very important to me, after I had an epiphany one day, that if I was going to be involved with cars and airplanes anyway, I should do it in a way that matters. That's why I have done Genius Garage. I've done it for 11 years. I don't get paid. Yes, that's brutal. And if you don't understand how that's possible, just shut up, because I don't have time to explain to somebody who clearly doesn't understand life or business or working your ass off and being efficient to make something happen. 2 coffees, 3 coffees. That's my 3rd one if I drink it. So yeah, I've done that. And yeah, it's mattered. And I'm just tired of people and trolls and imbeciles. And people like on VINwiki and people on YouTube that are jealous because they think I'm internet famous or have a fancy car working with my own 2 hands. You see how many blisters are on my hands? Go screw yourselves. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you think something's like that. There are actual people in the world fighting to make the future better for others, and I'm one of them. So let's tell the positive story about how that has recently happened. Well, I had a young man that came on a Genius Garage a number of years ago. Bright, pleasant. He was into mechanical watches, engineering student, loves his sports cars, and did a good job working hard with part-time jobs and whatnot, and saving his money to where he has enough to buy a sports car. He's into German sports cars and everything. And, addicted to Facebook Marketplace, as we all are. But he does it relatively intelligently. So he shows a lot of good qualities to go somewhere. Anyway, so I had him as part of Genius Garage for a year, and he had great work ethic. He was pleasant to be around, awesome teammate, just great across the board. Young man, though. And as time went on, he learned lots about road racing cars and racing, and he started buying and selling and trading and doing things with that. Highly ambitious, frankly, just like myself. Having prototype cars that he wanted to build in the future, and race cars and all this. And he was also awesome at speaking with people and going out there in the real world and not being afraid to make friends and acquaintances, and was able to get highly experienced people in the world of motorsports and cars to respect him enough to help him out from time to time. Just shows a lot of ambition with that. So anyway, time goes by, and a year or 2 later, he also comes back with Genius Garage and was part of the, the Lotus Exosphere. I'll call it an F1 car, but nerds on the internet who have nothing better to do with their lives go, "I'm not an F1 car." And I'm like, go back to your mom's basement, you loser. Maybe she'll make you some more milk and cut the crust off your bread, too. Anyway, so he, just a great job across the board, right? Oh, that's interesting. I think I like that. Maybe I will test this on a watch of mine. So anyway, just great job across the board, right? And he's getting time to when it's time to graduate. And here's the truth of the matter. There's no jobs out there. And I'm into politics, obviously, but we're in a terrible time. We just went through the last 4 years of the Biden administration, which I think Tucker Carlson said it best on his thing. That was just a criminal enterprise. Yeah, it was. It was. And you know what? I'm sorry. If you're still brainwashed to think there is a Democratic Party left, there isn't. They are absolute trash that was completely infiltrated to destroy the fabric of the West in the United States. Period. But don't worry this week when I dive into how garbage Vivek Ramaswamy is. The Republicans aren't that much better off. But I digress. So there's no jobs out there. A lot of hiring freezes, difficult time. And this particular person would like to stay local to where he lives, and I don't blame him. I don't want to move. I like my home. I like my neighborhood. I like putting down roots. And if you don't ever or can't put down roots or don't care, you should reassess your life. So he can't get a job. it's just a disaster. Even the people that help him at the school with resumes are like, yeah, there's no jobs out there. You're just screwed. You graduated exactly at the wrong time, etc. And, and I brought him along with everything we're doing. He's interviewed and been paid attention to by big professional motorsports teams, by a massive, I think Toyota, TRD, Racing Development such. And there's like 1, maybe 2 jobs. So he gets an interview at times, but then they hire somebody internally and there's basically no shot. So this dude, and don't worry, I'm coming to the good stuff. So this dude, with the Omega car and the exposure from Tucker Carlson, he is somebody who I would absolutely want to hire to have on a team and be a right-hand man to design a functioning prototype car. In fact, I can't really think of anybody better, even older. He's the one I'd want. And even if he's deficient with this particular skill or talent, he'll get better. But he's got the right mindset for it. So he's really valuable. And I was frankly trying to talk him into coming to Ohio and building prototype cars with me. But he's a smart guy. And, I also want the best thing for his life. So we're talking about it. And I had, through YouTube and connections and people, a connection with the gentleman that watches my channel who works for one of the largest military contractors in the world. Maybe they are the largest. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's kind of big. And so I asked him, I remember in conversation we were talking about the young man and what I thought and how there are no jobs. And he goes, well, I've got the ability to see jobs that are available in the company that are not viewable by the public. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. This is the best student I've ever had. What can we do? Can we send you his info? So connect the two. Get the kid, I'm air quoting, get my past student to send all his information. And he doesn't want to have to move across the country. And the guy even asked him, what do you think about moving to California? What if you get to, well, I can't say what it is, but I could, but I'm not gonna. What about California? And he's like, F no. And I don't blame him. California is a disaster, absolute disaster, politically and economically. And so there were other places he could move in the United States, which would be all right. And I told him, like, look, man, you're single right now. You may be dating. I think you own 2 cars at most and a toolbox. Just go. Just go start your life. And that clicked with him well enough to do something. But anyway, long story short, he ended up getting interviews local to where he lives, which is awesome. His first choice. He was over the moon with that. And it was the kind of thing where this company doesn't screw around. They don't interview a zillion people. They just interview a select few. So he was excited about that, got an interview. And he calls me the next day. And he goes, well, I thought it went pretty well. They talked about Genius Garage almost the entire time and were astonished by what I had done on there. I want you to remember that part of this story, by the way. And then they said to me, well, even if we really like you, it still takes up to 3 weeks for HR to get back to anybody or send an email. And he's like, okay, fair enough, whatever. So he goes on his day. Well, the next day, his phone rings at home, and he's thinking, who in the heck has the nerve to call me? I don't know if it was early in the morning or anything like that, but it was at home. And the guy answers and goes, hi, I'm from military contracting place X. I'm not saying the name. He didn't say that. I probably said, is so-and-so there first and then said that. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, did you have an opportunity to review the offer we sent you in the email? And he's like, what? Did take 3 weeks for HR. He had a job offer in his email inbox the next day. A good one. So he was over the moon. Guess what else? He got another job interview 2 days later, same company. And he interviewed for that as well. And he was fully transparent with everybody. It was funny because early on, he was full disclosure to the person that gave him the second interview. And he says, hey, I've already got an offer pending. And the guy goes, well, what? How much is it for and what job? And he tells him, and the guy's like, nope, you're taking that job. And it's a cool job. So let's turn this story around to something touchy-feely positive. By the way, this is my watch, and I'm going to experiment with this tool for the first time, so you may see me screw up my own watch. Let me see if I'm going to orient this correctly. Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay, so he accepts his job offer. He's over the moon. There are no jobs out there. And this particular company, I asked him, hey, if I can get you an interview at so-and-so, what would you think about that? And he said, I would sell my soul to work for them. And I go, okay, first of all, never say that again. That's way more important than you realize, and that stuff is real. But secondly, okay, fine. I'll make it happen. I do want to point something out. I could have been the person that didn't give him that connection, that didn't put the effort in to help him get another job, because truth be told, I would have liked to have hired him to build prototype cars. So why did I do it? Well, I'm one of those rare idiots that actually care about other people. And that's why I did Genius Garage. The American educational system is revolting garbage, period. Doesn't do the right thing. The automotive industry, I've come to learn, doesn't give a rat's behind about anybody. They'll pretend so they can send out a press release and do it, and it'll look good. They don't care. So I do it, and it actually matters to me, and this matters to me. So why did I leave VINwiki? Well, I'll tell you something else about this young man. I've been doing VINwiki for a couple years at this point, something like that. And as we all know, the most famous theme of all of VINwiki is the Cannonball Run, which in the 1970s was a cool thing. It was a protest against Jimmy Carter's BS 55-mile-an-hour speed limits, proving that the vast open areas of the United States, you can drive faster, safer. People like Dan Gurney and Brock Yates drove really fast across the country as a protest. Now, Dan Gurney, I have to point out, is one of the all-time great racing drivers. Now, I don't care about your automaton, gym jockey, modern Formula One drivers. They can't carry the helmet bag or toolbox of Dan Gurney, because Dan Gurney also designed and built his own stuff, okay? Dan Gurney, Jack Brabham, Jim Hall, they're in another league. So I bring that up because the Cannonball Run has devolved into a bunch of young criminals that are usually like car salesmen and such that want cheap fame. And they're not afraid to risk everybody's lives in the modern age, everybody on the roadway, everybody who they rope into planning and premeditating all of this criminal activity. For what? It's not a political protest. There's nothing they're helping. And then they pretend to do stuff like runs and stuff with the police, which is a load of bullshit. And then the police that are doing that are just effectively condoning the whole thing. It's absolute bullshit. They're criminals, period. But they're famous criminals. The people in the car people think that are cool outlaws. Even one of them, who is an absolute disaster to me, the tagline of his personal YouTube channel was, "The eBay Outlaw." Oh, congratulations. You defrauded the world's largest internet auction site and you're proud of it? You're kind of a piece of shit. Come and get me. So, I come to hear through the grapevine that one of my students was thinking about doing a Cannonball Run. That's when it hit home to me. It wasn't just me telling stories on a famous platform with a bunch of scofflaws. I went on VINwiki originally to get exposure for the nonprofit, for Genius Garage, where I was trying to help young people. Because the automotive media, no one would cover it. No one cared. Because in the Concours world, the vintage racing world, and especially the modern racing world, basically every nonprofit there is just a tax dodge, bullcrap, money laundering cover, which actually I came to find out later, and this pissed me off too. I was talking to somebody I know, having kind of a crappy day. I had to tell somebody else to go screw themselves. And I was talking about Genius Garage, beating myself up over the years to do it, and he goes, actually, man, I've known a lot of people that have been in, and I'm not even going to say what town, the Mafia, and he's like, that would be a perfect cover. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm just pissed off, and how could I not be? So anyway, this young man, right? The dude that I mentored all these years and went out of my way to help out to get his dream job and an offer at a place where he will get clearance was a young man one time. watching VINwiki, thinking this was all cool, smart, can drive cars. He was going to do a Cannonball Run, put a lot of effort into it, planned it with people. And I found that out. And I had about 5 hours one day with him in a truck and trailer, and I knew this and I was keeping it quiet. And I'm like, this is my one shot to save this kid's life. So, I don't know, I was just chit-chatty, real chill, started asking him questions until he told me about his plans that he wasn't originally telling me. And I asked him this. I said, okay, so you want to do a Cannonball Run. What do you get out of that if you set a record? What do you get for it? What do you achieve? And he told me some reasons and answers and thoughts and exposure. And I go, no, what do you get? Because you're risking jail time and people's lives, and you're risking all automotive enthusiasts' ability to have some modicum of freedom and enjoy our cars before bureaucrats, politicians, and insurance companies destroy it for everybody. I wasn't that mean. I was really nice. So I said to him, like, you know, and this is hyperbole, so don't read too much in it, you bunch of monkeys. I said, if you're going to be dumb enough to do something illegal, at least do it to where there's a return on investment for your risk, you idiot. And I said it in a funny way for him to get it. And he got it. So he ended up on his own, deciding to back out. Back out with the people, back out with everything, take a different life direction. And maybe a month later, I went into the shop and he was sitting there by himself. A little odd. And I walked in, I'm like, what's up, dude? And he said, I guess I have to thank you. The guys that I was going to do a Cannonball Run with, and I'm thinking about it, did it anyway. And when they were on the stint that I would have been driving, they got pulled over, the driver arrested, and is in jail, the car impounded. I would have gone to jail. But the VINwiki Cannonball crowd won't tell you about those stories. How do I know that? How many times have I heard someone say, they have a perfect safety record? Yes. And politicians and congressmen and women are all awesome, ethical, nice people who don't involve with insider trading. See, it's your first day on the internet and second day in life. See, you don't know. We don't know. We don't know how many people have tried something like that and have gone into jail, wrecked their car, been arrested. We don't know. We don't know how many of those people have ever been injured. And you're never gonna know. And now the VINwiki and Cannonball Run people of modern times dislike me more? I don't fucking care. You're a bunch of criminals. Get fucked. And see, now I know you're gonna wanna come after me. Oh, go fuck yourself harder. Yeah, come and get me. Go shut up and go back to the rock you crawled out from under. So anyway, the young man that I helped go all the way to get an unbelievable engineering job for the rest of his life and a nice career, I actually had to be the cool uncle / big brother / dad to help him not end up going down life choices to where he went to jail. That was the end of it for me. That was the turning point. When I first was going to tell stories on that, I started listening to other people telling the stories and I went, oh boy. It's going to be challenging for me to tell a story on this channel and still have a career afterward. Why? Because everything everybody tells a story about is either illegal or kind of unethical or gray area. It's just not good, generally speaking. Now, I would enjoy, because when I get to shooting, metaphorically speaking, I would love to just lay waste and do complete character assassinations and indictments of everybody, them, including the generality of the internet and these moron trolls that know. But I literally have better things to do, and I'm sure they do as well. But my better things to do are actually helping young people's lives. And I've been doing it for 11 years. This year, I'm not. I don't have time to mentor. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I'm trying to figure out my own life with business and other things like the Omega car, but also working with my board of directors with Gina's Garage and the military advisory board now that I put together about getting actual funding to do something bigger. That's what I'm doing this year. I'm working behind the scenes. And it still matters to me. And I started this video saying my bullshit filter is full. It's full. I don't care anymore. I'm not playing diplomatic. If you don't like the things I say, you're an enemy of people. And that doesn't matter if you're a garbage Trojan horse politician, a talking head that's a hypocrite, or a bunch of scofflaws. Now, let's tell the truth. What automotive enthusiast or motorcycle enthusiast has not broken the speed limit? Maybe if you're into like pre-war brass era cars, maybe. Everybody! The point is not to tally, you moron internet trolls. The point is simple: discretion. I'm done playing nice. I'm done playing these games, and I'm going to tell the truth and push forward and just fight back. So if you want to come hit me, come hit me. I don't give a shit. That's why I fucking left VINwiki. They're a bunch of criminals, and Ed Bolian, in his own book, look it up, is a clinical psychopath. Have you ever heard him laugh for real, where it isn't just, I think I should laugh at this social cue moment? Because I haven't. Doesn't make him a bad guy, it just makes him a person, but he wrote about that in his own book in public. So I'm done.